All right, let's do this. This is episode number 7 of the Anthony John Amix podcast, and we're going to be talking about how to set goals effectively in 2020. And yes, this is a Sunday sermon edition, so buckle up.
Welcome to the Anthony John Amix podcast, the one and only podcast designed to help you become unstoppable in life and business. My name is Anthony John Amix. My friends call me AJ, and my goal with this podcast is to help you remember who you truly are, so you can maintain your center in the chaos, embody your potential, and unlock freedom in your life and business. That being said, let's get into today's show.
And we're back. If you're a big fan of what we've been talking about on the podcast every week up to this point, then you absolutely can't miss being a part of my Shift community. It's a free community for entrepreneurs who are committed to living out their version of freedom. Each Tuesday, I host a 30-minute virtual lunch and learn at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time in the group, where I train on topics related to marketing, sales, and the inner work. Plus, you can connect with other like-minded people. You can join that community for free at www.ajamix.com/community. So head on over to ajamix.com/community to join now. Man, can you believe 2019 is almost a wrap? Isn't that crazy to even say or think out loud? It's been a great year for me. Full of lots of big changes. We had my first child, moving to Europe, launching this podcast, and just a lot more things. And I hope you've had a great year, man. I hope you've been having an incredible holiday season with your family and loved ones. And for the first time in I think ever, I'm not home celebrating Christmas with my family. My wife and I, we decided this year to travel to Europe for about a year or more. And for the month of December, we spent it in her hometown of Brașov in Romania. And I tell you, I've missed being with my family because, man, they're amazing. They're so much fun to be around, lots of laugh, games, amazing food, and every one of them just an amazing, incredible human being. But, man, Romania's been great. I really like it here. In fact, we're looking at properties here in Brașov to buy. I think we've decided that we may actually end up building something. One of our targets is to turn it into an Airbnb so it pays for itself, and also so we have a place to stay when we come and visit. And I can't believe we're 3 days away from 2020. I don't know about you, but 2019 flew by. It's crazy. I love this time of the year, though, because I create time to plan for next year. I set aside time to think and really feel into what I really want. And then once I'm clear on what I want to experience, I go to work on creating a strategy to make it a reality. In Proverbs 29, verse 18, Solomon writes, "Where there is no vision, the people perish, but he that keepeth the law, happy is he." Now, I want to break this down a little bit, because what did Solomon mean if the people don't have a vision? They die. Well, I'll tell you what I believe he meant. I believe he meant if they didn't set goals and keep focused towards putting in what's required to hitting those targets and enjoying who they are becoming in the process, they will feel unfulfilled. Simply put, if they don't have goals and they don't stay focused on making them a reality, they might as well die, because they sure as hell probably don't want to be dreading out their existence day by day as a human. You know what I mean? I know I sure don't. Now, that's my take on this piece of scripture. And then you have the other part of the scripture. "But he that keepeth the law, happy is he." What does that mean? What law? The sacrificing of goats? After all, we're talking about the Old Testament here, right? Now, I don't think so. But what if the law he mentions is nothing more than abiding by the natural laws of this planet in a 5-letter word called focus? Now, there's a great little story called Acres of Diamonds by Russell H. Conwell that illustrates this concept really well. I first heard about this story while reading a book called Traction by Gino Wickman, and Gino really kind of paraphrases the story with the following words. "There once was a man named Ollie who owned a large farm with many orchards. Ollie was perfectly content with his lot in life until one day when a local priest told him how the Almighty had created diamonds, and how one stone the size of his thumb was worth enough to purchase an entire country. As the story goes, Ollie went to bed a poor man. He sold his farm and set out to seek a fortune in diamonds. After years of searching all over Palestine and Europe and not finding a single diamond, he ended up penniless. And in a fit of despair, he threw himself into the raging tide and drowned." Then soon afterward, the purchaser of Ollie's farm was visited by the same priest that told Ollie about the diamonds. And the priest noticed a small diamond on the mantelpiece and asked, "Where did you find this?" To which the man replied, "There's a brook that runs through a farm and it's full of them." Gino then wraps up his story by saying, "Most people are sitting on their own diamond mines. The surest way to lose your diamond mine is to get bored, become overambitious, or start thinking that the grass is greener on the other side." When I read this, it really hit me. I was like, damn right, Gino. Fucking focus. That's what it is. That's what it takes to unlock and create a new level of freedom, purpose, and success in our lives. I mean, oftentimes entrepreneurs get bored and then get distracted by the shiny stuff, the Facebook bots, the webinars, the new funnel, the new software. Can you relate to this? I'm here to tell you, while that stuff has merit, there's a time and place for it. And I'll have you consider, if you're not careful, you can use that stuff to self-sabotage your goals. And I do not want to see you making that mistake. So how can we heed the words of Solomon and make sure that we don't perish? Well, first, take the time to get clear on what you want. Make sure you have a vision and make no excuses for what you want. You want what you want, so let's just admit that and align with that truth. And don't simply look at your business goals either. I mean, there's more to freedom and success than your business. I've learned there's actually 5 areas. I call them the Thrive 5. They're faith, family, fitness, finance, and fun. And here's the thing. Many entrepreneurs make the mistake of only setting goals in their business, and they neglect the areas of their faith and their family and their fitness. But here's the thing. If you don't have certainty in your ability to create your reality as you wish, I call this faith, and you're carrying some levels of guilt and shame and regret with your family and your body, you're bringing all of that shit into your game of business, which then makes hitting your targets even harder. And to make matters worse, most entrepreneurs totally forget to set targets to have fun. I don't know how many times I've been talking with potential clients and I ask them on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not at all and 10 being absolutely, how much fun are you having in life outside of business right now? And the vast majority always say a 3 or so. Now, why is it before we became entrepreneurs, we did fun things that had nothing to do with business? We went to concerts, we traveled to cool places, we hung out with friends, we just had fun, we lived life. Yet somehow along the way, we threw the idea of having fun out the window, believing one day when the business gets to a certain level, then we'll have some fun. And the sad reality is one day never comes. So if you want to gain massive momentum in 2020, I encourage you to focus on moving all of your life forward. And by doing so, you are able to leverage some of the natural laws on this planet. And I guarantee you'll gain more momentum in this game of business. So set targets that expand your capacity in each of the 5 areas: faith, family, fitness, finance, and fun. Now, there's no right or wrong, no big or small, just set tangible targets that expand your capacity and go to work on doing what's required to make those a reality. Now, maybe you're thinking, AJ, I don't have time for that. I have a big financial target to hit. I get it. Yet, if you don't keepeth the law, I'm here to tell you, you will not find happiness. So what is this law? Well, let me share with you an illustration I learned from my good friend Jonathan Heston to help you better understand the law. You may remember him from episode number 6. These 5 areas of life are like the cylinders of an engine, and each area of life represents each cylinder, and when all of the 5 cylinders are firing properly, you produce a massive amount of power that allows you to drive fast. And integrity, honoring your word and your commitments, and unconditional love, giving yourself some grace when you drop the ball and then recommitting, these things are the gas and the oil. Now, I don't know if you've ever tried to drive a car that has a blown cylinder in its engine. It'll run, but the car runs extremely rough. The car burns through a lot of gas and it wastes a ton of its own energy. And when you step on the gas, it has this huge lag because it's waiting for enough power to build up to actually get the car moving. Essentially, it's ridiculously frustrating, it's very stressful, and it's very, very inefficient. When we neglect one of the areas of the Thrive 5 in our lives, it's like attempting to generate results with a blown cylinder. And if we don't have integrity and honor our word and our commitments to ourselves, we lack the gasoline to fuel, to generate enough power in our lives. And this happens because if we can't trust and respect our own word, then how can the world trust and respect our word? Yet if we trust and respect our word, well, on the flip side, the world's going to trust and respect our word. So integrity is extremely powerful in generating massive amounts of power in your life. Now, the other thing is if we don't have unconditional love for ourselves, if we do drop the ball, well, then we're not going to have enough oil, and as a result, we create a lot of friction in our engines, and over time, we actually overheat and we burn out. But if we take care of our engine and we have all 5 cylinders firing correctly, and ensure we walk with integrity and unconditional love, then we generate a lot of power and we hit our targets faster and with less effort. Now, there are 2 ways I recommend doing this. For some, you can set quarterly targets in each area and then break those targets down into monthly targets, then weekly targets, and daily targets, and then you can go look at what it is required for you to hit those targets. And if you're willing to do those things, then boom, game on, you get to go on that journey. That's one way. And then for some, and I was one of those people 3 years ago where I couldn't see where I wanted to be a year from now. And to be honest, a part of me felt like I wasn't good enough because after all, the business books and many of the leading gurus would always say you needed a 10-year vision, a 3 to 5 year vision, and then a 1-year target, and then break that down into quarterly, then monthly, then weekly, and then daily targets. And all of that stuff made sense to me logically. Yet the truth for me was I couldn't see that far. I couldn't see my vision 10 years out. So eventually I had to admit the truth to myself, which was, I don't know where I want to be in 10 years. Hell, I can't even see where I want to be in 90 days. And the reason I was in that place when I got radically honest with myself was because I didn't trust myself to dream that big anymore. See, I had let myself down so many times by setting these big, huge, audacious, big, hairy goals, attempting to hit these grand slam home runs that this big part of myself didn't trust me to hit the goal. So it wouldn't allow me to see that far. And in that place, I made a decision one day to say, fuck it. Where do I want to be 30 days from now? What would be a huge, simple win for me in each of the 5 areas of my life in 30 days? 3 years ago, it was that simple. It was okay, for my faith, to meditate, read, and journal Monday through Friday. For my family, that was date night with my wife each week. For fitness, it was just get to the gym 5 days a week. For my business, it was picking up 4 new clients. For fun, it was going to the movies with my wife. The game was simple. But all of these things were huge wins for me, right, back then. And once I was clear on those targets, I then went to work devising a strategy to implement those things and honoring my word and walking with integrity. And this, my friend, setting new targets in the 5 main areas of life and hitting them changed my entire life. It allowed me to create a whole new level of trust and respect for myself, and it helped me break through the 6-figure ceiling that seemed to escape me for so many years. It also helped me to generate a new level of power that helped me attract and close bigger deals in the game of business, and I felt on fire. Now, 3 years later, I'm at a place where I can actually see 10 years out, where I actually do have my 3 to 5 year target. My 1-year plan is clear, my quarterly targets are set, my weekly targets are good to go, right? I know what's required, and I'm willing to pay the price to make my vision a reality. I've come to realize this game of life is nothing more than expansion. It's not about you comparing yourself to other people's targets or their visions. It's about you deciding to start focusing on you, period. So if you want to make 2020 your best year ever, it's time for you to stop comparing and despairing and to simply start going on the journey to just be better than you were yesterday. I've learned this game is about nothing more than pure personal expansion. And it comes down to 3 things, which are planning, focus, and execution. That's it. Simple to do, simple not to do. If you take to heart what I'm telling you here, I know you'll create massive momentum in your life and business. You'll make a lot more money without working so much. Your soul will feel on fire, alive, and on purpose, and you'll have a lot more fun. And if you don't take to heart what I've shared with you today, you'll have a whole another year of wishing and hoping and regretting. You'll stall out and either say, fuck it, or burn out. Or you'll create some big wins in one area of your life while the other areas of your life start to fall apart, and then you'll run around yo-yoing your results in your life. I'm here to tell you this game doesn't have to be that hard. But in order to create massive momentum, you have to slow down to go fast. I know it's totally counterintuitive, but it works. I have every single one of my clients embrace and operate with this philosophy, and it's one of the reasons they're able to consistently make more money while doing less things. So there you have it, my friend. How to set goals effectively in 2020. I think one of my biggest lessons of 2019 is in order for me to create a whole new level of being and doing in this lifetime, I must plan, focus, and execute. And maybe this is a big takeaway for you as well. See, the old me would spend little time planning and a lot of time executing. Now that I'm married and I have a kid and I run a business, an entirely new way of being was necessary for me to hit my new self-imposed targets of expansion. I learned that I had to take the time to plan, and then I had to say no to anything that attempted to distract me from doing what was required. And then I had to execute and then course correct my plan. Now, maybe this is a bit different than you've heard before. If so, try it on, right? In order to create new results that we've never had before, we must be willing to do and be things that we've never done or been before. So try out this whole Thrive 5 concept. It's changed my life, and it's helped a lot of my clients create some epic results in their life. Now, my invitation to you this day is to heed the words of Solomon in Proverbs 29, verse 18. Where there is no vision, the people perish, but he that keepeth the law is happy, right? And I'll end with the following question. How much more freedom, purpose, and success would be possible in your life if you allowed yourself to slow down to go fast? Like if you allowed yourself to take the time to plan out what would be a win for you in the 5 areas of your life: your faith, your family, your fitness, your finance, and your fun. Like how much more fulfillment would you feel on a daily basis if you leveraged the laws of integrity and unconditional love? All right, my friend, if you thought this podcast was super informative, then guess what? I'm going to hook you up with a free action guide for listening to this whole episode. It's called the New Year Goal Setting Action Guide, and it will help you set your targets for 2020. And you can download that for free at www.ajamex.com/goals. Again, that's ajamex.com/goals for that free resource. Thanks again for tuning into this episode. Until next time, my friend, I'm out. Peace.
Well, that's all I've got for this episode of the Anthony John Amix podcast, but we have plenty more to help you become unstoppable in life and business. So head on over to ajamex.com for exclusive resources, information, and tools to help you break through to a new level of freedom, purpose, and success. I look forward to having you back for the next episode. Bye for now.